you? I hope you all are so good. Today we start the one of the most important poem of Wooven word of English elective for class 11. As you know that Ted Hughes is the poet of this particular poem, Hawk Roosting. Hawk Roosting is one of the most prominent poem of Wooven words. Ted Hughes, who is an American poet, he is known for the animals and the birds' sentiments and emotions. He is interested to portray the beautiful pictures of bird and animals as he just spent all of his life amongst the nice company of birds and animals. Ted Hughes, he is also popular as he get married with Sylvia Plath, one of the most renowned poet of modern century. Now today we start the poem Hawk Roosting. Hawk Roosting, as we say hawk. Hawk, that means what? A very horrible bird who is at the height of the food chain. And when his presence at the height of the food chain, reflecting that how much he is arrogant and dominant by natures. Ted Hughes, through this character, through the presence of the hawk, through the speaker as a hawk, he wants to portray the humans, how human traits dominate the natures. He wants to highlight that what kinds of the real and the specific traits of hawk who is at the height, who is at top positions of the food chain, that food chain, just he acts like a predator. He used to kill the other birds, the other animals and insects. And after killing, after hunting, he starts to think that he is the god. He wants to think that he is having a supreme power of this universe. The beautiful pictures of personifications used by the poet Ted Hughes in this particular poem, Hawk Roosting. He says that how a hawk who is sitting at the top of the tree, that top, that height representing the positions of the creature who is at the height. After getting such positions, very few peoples, very few creatures having control over such pride, over such positions. And if someone having arrogant by nature like hawk, what kinds of the changes we notice gradually in his life? This one is the theme of this poem. Dear students, personifications. That is the particular and the specific theme, figure of speech used by the poet Ted Hughes. He personified hawk as a speaker, as a human, having arrogance, having tyranny, fearless, superiority complex, all these are present in a single character, that is Hawk. It is in the form of a monologue. Do you know what is monologue? Monologue is a kind of speech that has been spoken by a person in a play alone. He or she, herself or himself, being the part of that speech. And in this poem, Hawk is such a speaker who is in the form of a monologue, highlights his thought, his feelings of pride, his arrogance natures at the time when he is in roosting condition. During night time, he perched on a tall, on the highest part of the tree, at the top of the tree. Externally, on the surface, everyone thinks that he is sleeping. But internally, what is going on in the mind and the heart of the hawk? During sleep, during such roosting condition, hawk is thinking how to enhance his skill to do prey in the best way. He says that no one can compare with me while I was praying the other creatures. He he just says that I am at such height, I am in roosting conditions. But in spite of this, I am thinking how to enhance my hunt skill. He says that my hooked teeth and the leg, just having a strong clutch on this bark. This one is the same. Now we start the poem. The very first stanza and the very first line. First of all, I would like to say you that this poem is in the sixth stanza, and each stanza having quatrains. There is no rhyme used by a particular set of rhyme not used by Ted Hughes. He is always interested to write the poem in a free verse, and that's why this poem is also written in a free verse form. Now, the poem Hawk Roosting, the very first line, I sit in the top of the wood, my eyes closed, in action, no falsifying dream. Who sit in the top of the wood? The hawk, a very dominant bird, a dictator type bird in the food chain. Who takes the highest position? That hawk sit in the top of the wood. He says that he is a speaker of this poem. He says that his eye is closed. On the surface, it looks that he slept. But reality is what? During the sleeping time, he was thinking. He says that I haven't the vision, the false vision like a human beings. My vision is real as I am thinking how to enhance the skill of hunting. Between my hooked head and the hooked feet, or in sleep, rehearse perfect kills and it referring the way he hunts, the way he preys the other creatures and the other birds with his hooked feet, hooked claws, and that means a sharp head, having a brilliant head, having a sharp feet, having a strong clutch, his power reflecting by this particular word hooked. Now, in the second stanza, the poet says that the convenience of the high trees, that means the position, the glorifying state that he takes at the top positions of the trees, gave him a lot of advantage. He is blessed after getting such a top positions, the air's buoyancy and the sun rays. He says that as he is at the top positions of the tree, he is at the top positions of the nature, he is at the top positions of the food chain. And that's why he gets benefited by the airs, the power of air, the fresh air. Directly the sun rays come to him and all the things that is beyond his height, that is under his height, reveals clearly. He clearly looks each and every creatures, each and every things which is under his roosting place are of advantage to me. He already says that all these things giving him a lot of advantage. His positions, his place, his highest form in the food chain provides him a lots of privilege, and the earth's face upward for my inspection. He says that I clearly looks towards the earth as everything seems clear to me. In the second stanza, he reflecting that what are the advantages of his highest positions in the food chain? What are the advantages as he gets roosting place at the height of the tree, at the height of the wood? Now, in the third stanza, he highlights how his feet are locked upon the rough bark. The bark of the trees are not smooth and tightly he clutched. He just took a strong hold on the rough bark of the trees. It took the whole of creation, he says that. Such a tight clutch, such a strong grip make me so powerful that I have a strong grip on other tiny creatures, the small insects, the small birds, which are my favorite prey. He sees that the nature took a long time. It take a long time. Nature's took a very small, not a very long time to create the beauty, the strength of its feather and its foot. Nature's done a long effort, sincere effort to provide him such a strength, such a power, and now the turn comes to the hawk, and hawk start to think that natures which gave a long time to provide me such a strength, such a power, such a superiority, now this time this nature is under my foot. This line reflecting how much the hawk is arrogant by nature, how he start to think himself he is just behaving like a god. He is just behaving that he is a supreme power of this universe. Now, my dear students, in the very first three stanza, we come to know about the positions of the hawk, the nature of the hawk, how he is arrogant, how he is tyranny, how he wants to dominate this nature, those nature which just provide him such a strength, such a power, such a position. And after getting such power, positions and the strength, the hawk forgets everything. He just start to think that he is the supreme power of this nature. Ted Hughes wants to highlight that the same arrogancy and he wants to highlight his traits, how he just the supreme power of himself. Nobody, he has no fear to anyone. So in coming video we come to know about the explanations of the fourth, fifth and the sixth stanza of this poem, and after that we just go through the question answer of this poem. And if you have any problem to get the explanation of this poem, you can discuss in the chat box. Thank you very much.